This is my first time using StreamYard. I don't love it. I have to adjust camera settings for this because I'm working on a 4K camera, and it's like making, I had to unplug my lights. It's making them blink because of the flicker rate and whatever. But we're going to talk about contact. So somebody brought this to my attention on Exozone last Thursday. Please watch the Exozone with Doomcock. It's a good show. This Thursday it'll be on my channel here. And I watched the episode, and I didn't see if the To the Stars Academy had something to do with it, but it certainly looks like it, because it looks like it's almost a continuation of Unidentified. Now, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you know, I kind of thought they would turn off the faucet of this trickle disclosure, and it seems like they turned it on a little bit. And it was an interesting episode as far as an episode of television. They put together, they really stretched some stuff, but they put some pieces together that were interesting, that were definitely interesting. And I love that they acknowledged the strange sounds. That was an addiction of mine back in 2012. Every night I would go to YouTube and look for all the new strange sounds videos, because those things were popping up everywhere. Some of them were fake, some of them were not. And they went over that. That was very interesting. So they started out with Dennis Prager, and they talked about the Tic-Tac UFO again. And this is 3 people or 4 people. It's an intelligence officer from the CIA or some military organization, a guy who basically susses out his job. He's a doctor, and his job is to figure out how to invade other countries, or how our country could get invaded, which is key to this, to the narrative that they tried to, you know, lay out for the first episode, because there's a little bit of fear porn going on here. They had a guy who was part of catching Osama bin Laden. And so we have another spook, another CIA guy involved in this. And then they have a reporter, a very beautiful blonde reporter from space.com. She's a space reporter there. And she gets, you know, hey, she goes into the cave. So good on her. I would have never, ever have gone in that effing cave. I don't care how much you were paying me for a TV show. So they have this group, and I love the CIA guy. They always try to get a shot where he's like this, because he's pretty yoked. He's all, so the aliens are like that way, all right, and then that way. So yeah, we're taking on the aliens. You know, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But it was pretty good. I have to say the episode was pretty good. So they start out with Dennis Prager, the pilot and the radar guy from the 2004 Tic-Tac incident. They go over that again. We get a little new information, but they did focus on something that they really didn't focus on in Unidentified, which is the most extraordinary thing about all of this, is the Tic-Tac went from damn near our atmosphere to 55 feet above the ocean in 3/4 of a second and didn't make a sound, not a sound. Now they put off that, well, you know, the radar guy was in a ship. He wouldn't have heard anything. Yeah, he would have. Yes, he would have. And the pilots might have heard something, and everybody in Mexico on the coast might have heard something, and San Diego would have heard something. Those sonic booms are loud. I grew up in San Diego, and there's military everywhere. You're surrounded by military. I was very close to Camp Pendleton, where I grew up. Then you had Miramar Air Base, and then of course you had the Navy base in San Diego. Then there's Air Force bases off in the desert about 100 miles away. So sonic booms were a part of life where I grew up. And they would always be doing war games at Pendleton. So they're blowing shit up all the time. It was just part of life. There's lots of booming in San Diego every day. And you would have heard that. But aside from that, that's the lead that they decide to follow. So they talk to the pilot, they talk to the radar, and then they're like, they have this super duper CIA Google search thing that they use, which it might be made up for the show. And that's the biggest problem I have with these things. They need to cut, the show is very 2005, 2006, 2007. They've been making these shows from Discovery and History Channel the same goddamn way for a decade. It's like, cut all the drama shit and just give us the facts. You don't need music. You don't need anything. Plenty of people are coming. Look, Richard Dolan And Linda Moulton Howe are getting 50,000 views on their live streams. And it's just them talking. We just want the information. We don't want it drummed up. We don't need it. I understand that's what you have to do on TV, but that's why you're kind of a dinosaur right now. So cut that shit and just give us the facts. Of course, the episode might be 15 minutes, but so what? Who cares? It'll be a 15 minutes we remember. So they decide to follow the sounds. They're like, okay, what's the biggest unanswered question that Unidentified didn't cover, but they didn't mention that was the sounds. So they searched strange sounds, and I was like, oh, thank God. It was one of my favorite subjects. Linda Moulton Howe was all over this shit 5 years ago. And I'm going to try to play you one here because I think you guys can get audio. The funny thing is, it is not that easy to find on YouTube. You used to be able to search strange sounds and like a million things would come up. Now they do the debunking videos first, which certainly some of them are fake, of course. But then the one that they covered was the one at Tampa during a baseball game, and everybody was hearing that sound, and that's the same sounds that they were playing in Russia. So they acknowledge that at least I believe these sounds are real. And I don't know if their conclusions are correct, because I think there's another conclusion that they passed up that I think is equally weird, but it's not aliens. So they showed the sound from the Tampa stadium, and then they tried to get some people who were in the general area within 5 miles, and they interviewed them. They went and interviewed a couple people, and they finally got some UFO sightings. So they found a woman who had seen some orbs flying around, and what they did is they Googled their CIA Google thing again, and they were able to, and this thing does come up with some pretty good information, whatever it is, and it might be just researchers for the show. And they came up with sightings all that went that day, which was August 21st of 2011. And they followed sightings all the way up the eastern seaboard up to a town in Virginia. I'm forgetting the town's name. And that's where the UFO sightings, they had like 8 sightings in one place. So they kind of clustered there and then disappeared. So they go up to this town, and they go to the library, they talk to some of the residents, and you find out that this is it's in the Shenandoah Valley, which is well known for having lots of UFO sightings. And they had a cluster there, and it looks like they have been seeing UFOs for quite some time there. So they found a location, and they flew up a drone. And I saw some other YouTubers talking about looking at a UFO. I think it was that Star Wars girl and John Malin were looking at a UFO video. And drones are very loud. Drones can be quiet from a distance, but they here in San Francisco, there's drones flying over all the time. There's one that flies over my neighborhood every other day, and I can hear it when I'm inside my house. I don't know if it's a neighbor. It's a very expensive drone that flies over my neighborhood. I would say almost every other day, right at sundown. So it's either a neighbor, or it's the cops, or it's Amazon delivering stuff. I have no idea. But they're loud as hell. So he flies up a drone. They search the area, and he turns a filter on and finds some weird heat signatures, some parts of the ground that are 40 degrees more. So they put on their backpacks, and this is the girl who's the reporter and one of the intelligence officers, and they go hiking up. They lose the daylight. They don't care. They get their flashlights out, and they find a little cave, a little entrance to a cave, and they go down, and it's tight. It's tight, but then it opens up. When they get down there, they see all the stalactites and stalagmites are broken down and fallen, and it looks like that there was an earthquake there. So when they get back, they give that information to the guys back with the CIA Google, Space Google. We'll call it Space Google. And they find out that was the biggest earthquake to happen on the eastern seaboard in quite some time. Happened the very next day after all of these sightings. So you had strange noises starting down in Tampa, followed by UFO sightings that crawled up the East Coast, ended in this town in Virginia, which was 50 miles away from the epicenter of the biggest earthquake on the East Coast, the one that damaged the Washington Monument. That happened the next day. So they go, aliens. And it certainly could be, because remember in the beginning, one of the guys there is like, hey, my job is to see like what's the best way to invade a country, what's the best, or how can I stop people from invading us? So they're laying down this fear pour that maybe we're being invaded. Maybe maybe the aliens are going to come and cause earthquakes and invade our planet. I mean, that's what they were setting up. They didn't come out and say anything. So it's always something to consider. The big earthquake here in California, a lot of people were bringing up how weird it was. Now, it was off of a fault. It wasn't necessarily right on top of a fault. And to have a bigger earthquake follow, have an aftershock be bigger than the original earthquake is extremely rare here in California. I don't think I've ever experienced that, ever. But 50 years, it's a blip of time. But it could also be earthquake lights. Earthquake lights are kind of a thing. They're real. And maybe the tectonic plates were starting to move, and this energy was causing weird noises and lights, and it crawled up the East Coast, and it eventually ended with the earthquake the next day. I think you got to consider that possibility. And the fact that they didn't bring it up in the show, it's like, come on, listen, I believe in aliens. I believe in all this shit. But that's the first thing I thought of as well. There's earthquake lights, and tectonic plates are big, and the earth can move, and it takes time, and it can probably cause a weird noise. I'm guessing. I don't know. Like, you imagine just everything crushing. But the noise was coming from the sky. That's the only thing. That's the only weird thing, is the noise was coming from the sky. So, yeah, so that was the end of the first episode. They concluded that aliens, that there was some weird coincidences, and that was cool. That was how they put everything together. Now, they did interview one of the kids in the Virginia town who saw a UFO, and this was a pretty incredible. He didn't get any video, but he tweeted about it. And there was a light that shone down on his house so bright that it woke him up, and his brother and his girlfriend at the time. And it was so bright, it was coming in both sides of the house, like the spotlight was coming above. That's interesting. I think these conclusions are interesting. I highly recommend, if you're into this kind of stuff, to watch the episode. I thought it was worth the watch. Actually, I thought it was put together a little better than Unidentified, to be honest with you. As far as, pacing, putting the clues together as far of a stretch as they are, it was entertaining to watch. I was definitely locked in, and I will watch the next episode. And listen, I'm going to cover, I didn't get a chance to watch Ancient Aliens, so I'll do a separate video for that probably tonight. They talked about lizard people and something else the last couple of episodes, so I need to get caught up on this. And if you just come to this channel, I do everything live. I review TV. I'm behind on everything. I need to do The Boys. I need to review Preacher. I'm probably going to wait till the third episode airs, and then we'll do Preacher here. But I'm going to get to the chat a little bit. And yeah, I really thought it was kind of a cool episode. Now, I don't want to hear myself. I'm not really interested in that. I just want to pop out the chat here. Give me just a second, folks. I just ran in the door. I was out working out, and I'm still editing a follow-up video to my Star Wars video that came out earlier today with a rumor. I've been working on that for the last day, and I've got some additional news for that I can't say right here, but that's on the big channel, by the way. Again, we get that out. And let's see if I can bring up some strange sounds. Here we go. So I'm going to try something. Oh my God, I've got so many windows open right now. I'm surprised on my computer. I haven't got my new computer up yet, by the way. That's happening soon. So StreamYard, it's okay. It's all right. I don't love it. I'll probably use OBS. But hello, Mary Ashmead. Thank you for coming. Chillapine. Dennis Alderman, Fox and Barrett Show, Alexandra M, Gray Troll, Halom 899, Bear Nerd Fun, my good friend Matthew Matson. Matthew, hang on. All right, we're gonna try this. I don't know if YouTube's gonna like this. I don't think this is a copyrighted video, so I want to share the screen. There we go. We go to application window. All right. We're going to see if you can hear this. Let me know if you can hear this or not when I hit play, because I'm not sure. Lars Leonard for 50 Danish crowns. Thanks for making me watch The Expanse. I made you watch it. Just finished it. Loved it. Can't wait for seasons 4 and 5. My favorite characters are Amos and Bobby. Books next. Yeah, definitely watch the shows first. I think it's a better experience to watch the shows before you read the books. Bobby is a great character and she's kind of better in the show. And Amos, they're two different Amoses. This is a much prettier, younger Amos, but I like both of the characters quite a bit. All right, off back to the UFO stuff. Again, let's see if you can now. Yeah, let me know if you guys just put an F in the chat if you can hear this. I'm going to try to find a better one, but there are noises. Here, let's find a better one. So here's what I'm talking about when it comes to strange sounds. Let's go to YouTube. That one wasn't very good. And if we do strange sounds, yeah, I know Epstein. I don't really get into politics, but yeah, that's really strangely timed suicide. But I'm not surprised they're talking about it now, although this is news. Epstein, well, just real quick, Epstein was news from years ago. Love him or hate him, Mike Cernovich was talking about this 5 or 6 years ago, and nobody wanted to talk about it. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants to talk about it. Very, very interesting. See, so look, all the debunking sound things, you used to put strange sound and you would have that Russian one, and you can't even find it now. Yeah, I can't. There used to be the one with the Russian building, and it's just not there. That one's I think this one's good. Hang on. Where is the Russian one? The one they were looking at that used to pop up all the time. Isn't that weird? How it's just got, there we go. Can you guys hear that, Blue-Eyed Scorpio? Or are you just hearing it through my mic? Hang on. Maybe if I mute my mic, I don't want to see this dude. See, and then you know what they do? They always put some weird science video afterwards. So let's do this again. I'm going to pause it and mute my mic and see if we can, if you guys can hear those. Got to experiment. That doesn't work. So never mind. That's something OBS will be able to do, is you'll be able to hear sound. But yeah, I will figure that one out. So apologies for the nothing sound there. So let's get to the chat a little bit here. So did anybody see? I mean, it's on, I don't even know what is it on Discovery Science? How many Discovery channels are there? I found it on my Sling. Earthquakes in Texas are rare, but happen. I blame fracking. Raymond Elder, I mean, I could be. I mean, you don't want to put fracking out of the realm of possibility. Yeah. I guess it depends. You know what? There's a lot of earthquakes where Mary Ashmead is, but she's close to Yellowstone. Now, I think maybe the fracking has something to do with Oklahoma, but like, you're probably not going to like my opinion on fracking. I mean, if anything that like, so we're not reliant on oil from the Middle East. I don't know. If the ground shakes a couple times and we're not in wars over there, that'd be great. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I love Bobby. Yes, we love Bobby. We love Bobby. Uh, yeah, I don't think it. I could definitely see it happen. I mean, you're basically making the Earth fart, right? So there's probably pockets of pressure that you're relieving, and it's making the Earth shake. Yeah, yeah, totally. I can believe it. The Earth shakes all the time, but yeah, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. Yeah. I live near Gatwick Airport, where we have earthquakes until last year, about 6 weeks after they started fracking, but it's not related at all. No, nothing to see here. Well, the Oklahoma thing is weird. That's for sure. But as long as they're not set, I mean, like, yeah, if you get a 9.0, then we're going to have to like have a conversation at least. What's weird to me are quakes in New England. Yeah, well, yeah, quakes up there at all, but there is a fault. There's the it's not New England, but on the East Coast you have the New Madrid fault. That's a pretty big fault. But it's nothing like what we're next to. But earthquakes are, I mean, yeah, they're I've been here for 50 years and I've had a couple action figures fall over. So, whatever. But the strange sounds. See, the thing we had here for the thing we've had in California for the longest time, and you guys are starting to experience them over in the East Coast of late, is the strange booms. The strange booms were much different than the sonic booms I was talking to you about. And this goes back to when I was 7 and they would report it on Channel 8 News, where I'm forgetting is that Hal Green would be who is the bassist for Ron Burgundy, by the way. He got to start in San Diego. And Hal Green or Hal Green, I think it was, yeah. A redheaded guy with a mustache. He would report strange booms, and they weren't sonic booms because there's a difference. I mean, I know what a sonic boom sounds like. It's this boom shook the ground. Sonic booms do not shake the ground. They just don't. The booms we felt like rattled windows, shook the ground, but they weren't like there's jolting earthquakes. It wasn't that either. Plus, it didn't register on the Richter scale at all. And it has been going on for years in San Diego. Nobody knows what that is to this day. And you guys have been experiencing it in Canada now and on the East Coast, and maybe you have for decades, and maybe people are just starting to talk about. Also, in other related weird news, we had some cattle cattle mutilation has not gone away. We just recently had something go down in Oregon. Linda Moulton Howe reported on it, and it happened 2 days ago. Oregon. 4 days ago. This is from our good friends at Coast. We're going to share the screen again. Application window. All right, you guys can see that? Cool. All right. A ranch in Oregon recently lost 5 bulls in a mysterious incident which seems to bear the hallmarks of the infamous cattle mutilation phenomenon. The unsettling case reportedly occurred at the spacious Sylvie's Valley Ranch in the city of Seneca late last month, when 5 animals were discovered having died under curious circumstances. According to the investigators, there were no signs of struggle, nor any indication they were poisoned, felled by lightning, or shot. On the contrary, the unfortunate creatures appeared as if they simply collapsed on the spot, and chillingly, all 5 of the bulls had their tongues and their genitals removed with surgical precision, which is in keeping with the perplexing cattle mutilation phenomenon. Acknowledging the weirdness of the situation, Deputy Dan Jenkins lamented that whenever there's a case like this, all the conspiracy theorists come out. Oh, yeah, okay. A bull is missing its balls and its tongue. Nothing to see here. To that end, he noted that satanic cult, it's not satanic cults. It's not satanic. cults? Where are all these freaking satanic cults? Oh, Jesus. What is this? The 70s? And clandestine government agencies have been suspected of being behind the cattle mutilations in the past, but didn't seem to give the possibilities much credence, calling such speculation a little ridiculous. Okay. But be that as it may, like so many law enforcement officials before him who were tasked with similar cattle mutilation cases, the deputy is stumped as to how creatures died when they were mutilated in such a strange fashion. It's a mystery. Jenkins conceded while also asserting that I'm confident some person or group did this. Oh, okay. Okay. Big time. Why? While we wait and see the deputy's instinct is correct, Coast insiders can learn more about the mysterious cattle mutilation phenomenon by checking in the 5/14/2017 edition program featuring researcher Christopher O'Brien. Well, why aren't you? So Linda Moulton Howe quit Coast. And what, are they not giving her any love anymore? That's terrible. That's not fair. All right, let's go to the con. Just a minute here. I'm trying to find out about this show. Contact on Discovery. God, there's so many. It's such a. There we go. Contact on Discovery Channel customer service. Oh, they have a customer service line, but who produces them? Oh boy, boy, boy. Avian there. Oh, so it's Discovery Go. Okay. I'm trying to find out if To the Stars Academy produces this. I wouldn't be surprised. What is that? All right. And now I'll probably get in trouble for doing that. Okay. So this was also a good test for the StreamYards. Yeah, not loving it. It feels like a janky Hangouts. So I'm going to use OBS with my new computer, which is mostly here. So I'm going to put it up here. I bet it was Bear Grylls. He's always involved in genital. Oh, God. You got to finish reading these things. Tongue is yummy, but bull nuts, well, they like them in Colorado. Trinoculus P. They do like their Rocky Mountain oysters, which they served at Rockies games. Okay, Andre, I agree with this. Earthquakes are a result of Doomcock moving his army of deadly robots. Get used to it, folks. It's part of life. It's part of life. Good to see Gary streaming. I've been streaming. I streamed night before last. I did a Doctor Who live stream, which is doing very well. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's been a while since I've done something over here. So there will be live streams here Tuesday and Thursday, and probably late Saturday night. I just did this one early, but usually I'm going to do my, I call it This Week in Disclosure. Those will be usually late at night, and we're going to go over the latest UFO stories and stuff, and stuff we couldn't get to at the Exozone. But it's kind of like the offshoot stories that we don't cover in the Exozone, because I don't want to cover the same thing. What the hell? I can't read that. That's funny. Silhouetted animator. Why is it always cows? Do aliens love hamburgers? They might. Or maybe they just like Rocky Mountain oysters. Maybe the aliens are actually Coloradans. Stoners from Denver. It's not aliens. It's time traveling stoners from Denver, Colorado, or Boulder. No, Boulder. You know, Matt should move to Boulder. I was just thinking of that. Don't you think he should move to Boulder? It'd be appropriate. I used to live right next to the Mississippi River. And when we had small tremors and that disrupted all the time, the Dallas area is nice and stable, though. Yeah, except for, tornadoes and freezing weather. But no, I've only been to Dallas once. It was beautiful. It was nice. It was nice. I don't know about those Cowboys, though. Ugh. That's sports ball. I don't care about sports ball anymore. I used to, but you all know the story. Oh, it's missing right now. It's over here. This is usually I traveled, so my mic isn't as decorated, but I can put back my oh, you can't see it. My last remnant to the Chargers, the San Diego Chargers, my beloved Chargers, who asshole Dean Spanos moved him to LA because Dean Spanos is the kind of billionaire that can turn himself into a millionaire. That's the kind of guy he is. Piece of crap. I don't like him. You were born on the bayou, Darth Scipio. Born on the bayou. If you think about it, cattle mutilation fits with human abductions. All things on this planet can be the aliens' property. It would make the most amount of sense in ufology. Apex Tyrannus, I do think they're connected. I definitely think they're connected. And if they are true, it's listen, the government is admitting there's UFOs. And like the people still don't want to believe. There's people who still go, nope, 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 nope. And at this point, it's not because your skeptic rational mind. It's because you don't want to believe, and that's fine. Out of fear, whatever. I don't know what it is, and that's fine if you don't believe it. I don't care. I don't mind. But in this show, they mentioned there's thousands of documents that have recently been released in the last 2 years where they have the ATIP program, where within those documents, the government says there is stuff we don't have. Humanity cannot make what we are observing. Humanity can't make the U.S. government. There's not too many secrets from the U.S. government in China, in Russia. I would say there's little to none. Parts of the U.S. government know pretty much everything that's going on this planet. Whether these parts of the U.S. government talk to each other, not really sure. But you bet your ass, if there's any government on this planet that knows pretty much everything that's going on, it's ours. They make it their business. And quite frankly, I'm glad they do. Now, when they come out and say these things are moving, and listen, the Tic-Tac was moving at 100,000 miles an hour and it was stopping on a dime. So anything made out of meat inside of that thing would be jelly. So it can't be manned unless it's in some sort of gravity bubble thing, which might explain the lack of sound, possibly. But they have video, they have military trained observers talking about this. Members of the CIA coming out and admitting it. And this was and politicians, which are partisan politicians, unfortunately, it's not bipartisan. That part bugs me. It does. Coming out and admitting, coming right up to admitting this stuff. So something's going on. Something's clearly going on. Is it an op? Yes, I think it's part op. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to be curious and watch every single bit of this and find out what's going on. But something is going on. So if we have the government acknowledging that something is going on, I don't think it's too far of a leap to think that if there's some ancient alien civilization that's been visiting us for thousands of years and are light years ahead of us, evolutionary, that they might not see us as equals. So they might pluck our animals or pluck us. And it might be for our own good. It might be. We don't know. At least that's what's in their very advanced alien mind that we probably can't even communicate with. Probably. I'm not sure. It's like us communicating with animals here. I mean, it's possible with a couple of species, but not much. I mean, you can't talk to an ant. So, it's as we say on the Exozone, it's worthy of entertaining the possibility. Just this. That's what we do. I don't report any of this as fact. The U.S. government won't even admit Epstein was Arkansas. I don't mean to laugh about that. Yes. Well, there was a meme. It's listen. I think that's worthy of conversation. Tell you what, we'll talk about it tonight on this channel. That'll be my nighttime live stream. We'll go into the weeds on that one. It's not one I can keep on the air, so make sure you tune in. We'll say 9:30 Pacific time. It's pretty late for some people, I know, but it's gonna. No, you tell you what, 8:30. We'll do 8:30 Pacific time. That's as early as I can go, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it because I think it's worth talking about. It's very conspiratorial. So it's not anything I can keep up again. What I'll do is I'll put it on my website when it's done, nerdrotic.com. And if you miss it, I'll make sure I link it there because we'll get into the weeds on that one. Because listen, this is something I followed years ago. I've been hoping this guy got nabbed for years. He's evil. He was freaking evil, but he could also bring the system down. Isn't it funny how Jimmy Savile didn't bring down the BBC? But he should have. Isn't that funny how that happened? Yeah, it's not really that funny. It's just proof that these are the stories that aren't talked about. That's why we talk about them on the Exozone. The biggest story of our lifetime is aliens are fucking visiting us. That's bigger than Jeffrey Epstein. That's bigger than the election. It's bigger than anything ever, and it doesn't get talked about. Because they want us divided, distracted, partisan, at each other's throats, and that's why they're invading our entertainment. They don't want us to relax. This is done on purpose. This is done to keep us divided, to keep us distracted. Because just giving us simple entertainment won't distract us enough because we'll enjoy it, move about our day, but they want us bickering within that. So they're kind of winning with that one, but not for long. Unless they shut us down here. We'll see. We'll see. Let's get to the chat a little bit. I'm editing two things at once. So yeah. Speaking of rumor and conspiracy, I dropped a video on the big channel concerning some pretty big Star Wars news. I think as far as that news, it's rumor, by the way. But I think it's just kind of a no-duh situation. Like, yeah, it explains things. Man, I'm not going to be dropping a Jeffrey Epstein video, so don't worry. I'm not going to do it, but I'll do a live stream. I have to get to. There we go. I had to get to my control room. I'm sorry, but real quick, last word on that episode. It was good. It was good. I highly recommend it, and you can get it on Discovery Go. And I think it's a free app. So I would say, yeah, go ahead and give it a shot. The Dallas Deadeye for $5. I believe these Tic-Tacs are our defenses against alien intruders. They were given to us and built by alien tech. I would kind of believe that, Dallas Deadeye, but here's the problem with that. They tested them against our military. And while there was a time our country would have done that, they don't do that anymore. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that they would F with two aircraft or an aircraft carrier. And that was dangerous. I mean, they flew dangerously close to our pilots. And as evil as I think governments can be, I don't think they would do that. I just don't. I think considering what we know from so they followed basically a flock, a school of these things. Hundreds of them were coming from right around Catalina and coming all the way down to an island off of Mexico. And they knew the planes were there and they were just kind of flicking them off. They're like, go away, go away. We're doing something right now. We don't have drones that can fly silently and go 100,000 miles an hour. We just don't. That's impossible. That don't make a sound. Okay. If there's sonic booms, you got me. Then I'll say it's one of ours. The not making a sound is a major problem in physics that we don't have a problem. So, yeah, I think we have amazing technology we don't know about though. And I think we have stuff that can fly faster than we know about now. I'll give you that. But no, I'm this one. We're finding out that Richard Dolan just recently did a video that the Tic-Tac is not anything new. They've been seeing these Tic-Tacs for 100 years. So go watch. It was his last video. Go to Richard Dolan's channel, watch that live stream, and he breaks it down. It's either his last one or second to last one. What's up, Bird of Prey 5 for $2? I love the premiere. Rare to hear new stuff. Kapla. Yeah, I liked it too. Bird of Prey 5. Yeah, it was new stuff. And it was interesting stuff. So I would say definitely give it a shot, everybody. And Mary. Hi, Mary. It's good to see Mary here wrenching away. And so I finally, I'm getting together this graphic. So every video and every live stream, you're going to see the wrenches get their love because they deserve their love. Nyla Shadow, Chris Persia, of course, the great Mary Ashmead and Mark Lazurth, who's around, and DJ D Show, Matthew Matson. Matthew, did I wrench you? How could I have not wrenched you here? I thought I did. Hang on. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. And Matthew Matson and Nyla Shadow. All right, I'm gonna bounce now because I gotta put that computer going. So yes, watch Contact, and I'll be back tonight at about 8:30. So a few hours, and we'll talk about the weirdness going on in the world. A rare, somewhat. I think it's more than political. We're just gonna like, what the hell? We'll have one of those conversations, but they won't be a regular thing. But we'll do it here. And then the Inquisition is tomorrow on my channel at 6 p.m. And that's with Doomcock. And we're going to talk about the Star Wars rumors. We're going to talk about the Doctor Who rumors. I've got no news on the Doctor Who rumor, but I will say this. It's starting to look like Chibnall will be gone. It's starting to look that way. I don't think Jodie's, I don't think there's truth to that yet. But there could be. She's very loyal to him. So I think there is, they're making an announcement at the end of September. I think it's going to be, there's going to be a Christmas show and that they're going to make some changes. What kind of changes? I'm not sure. But there's some people who've been ahead on the curve on that one, like the TARDIS Zone and stuff, and they deserve all the credit. When we hear something, we'll know. As far as the Star Wars rumor goes, that is a work in progress. So again, I will have a sequel to my video out tomorrow, probably. I'm working on it a little bit with some more details on that situation. I don't know if it's true. Somebody on Twitter said, why don't you ask George? I'm like, yeah. Billionaires always share the intimate knowledge of their IP contracts with assholes on Twitter. I'm sure George will remember meeting me at Lucas Ranch 15 years ago when I was on when I went to Lucas Ranch, I was on a list that I wasn't allowed to come in. So they had to convince them to let me in, even though they'd never met me before. There's probably a reason why I was on the list. What time tonight? Great Troll. It'll be 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 2 p.m. Pacific time. So 6.5 hours from now, I will be live on this channel. We will talk about some dark stuff. It's dark, man. Oof. The Dr. Woke news is too good to be true. Yeah, I'm Derek. Yes. But there is a piece of that probably is true. But I reported on it a year and a half ago. I've always thought that Chibnall he was there. They kind of, people weren't jumping at the chance to do the show, by the way. They were having a hard time to find people to do the show. Chibnall was not the first choice. And yeah, people just didn't want to do the show because they know what it's like to work with the BBC. It's bullshit. And even if you're the biggest fan in the show, it wears you down. Listen, I'm the biggest comic fan in the world. I work comic book retailing, and working with Marvel. Marvel could do no wrong in my eyes ever. Well, after 10 years of doing business with them, it was very easy to hate them. And it's unbelievable, but it's true. Yeah, you work with something and it's just takes all the fracking fun out of it. Believe me. Okay, so thank you for tuning in. And StreamYard's work so I can use it for guests, but I'm going to have something a little better for you, I think. Mary, Chris, Nyla Shadow, Matthew, and if I'm missing one, I'm sorry. Thank you for the wrench work. I've got some love for you guys coming soon, and I will see you all later tonight. Go to Nerdrotic. Subscribe here if you haven't subscribed here. This is very loose. We're fast and loose here. It's just live shit. I'm not going to do any videos or anything like that. And we can have fun. This is a place where we mostly have fun. We're going to try to, the culture war and everything is mostly going to be on the main channel. We'll talk about aliens and fun stuff over here. Okay. I thought that was a good place for it. Don't you? All right, everybody. I wonder if I can hit this stop button right here. We do not kneel.